weather. It governs our world, bringing life, death, and destruction.
God damn it, go back.
We're fine.
Oh my God! It's drowning!
Wow. World's deadliest weather is back. Bigger and badder. This time we include deadly natural disasters.
One of the most terrifying moments of my life.
Featuring earth-shattering quakes.
Yo ahí vi pasar toda mi vida, pero yo pensé que ya no la iba a lograr.
I saw an entire building collapse.
It was like something out of a movie.
And volcanoes.
It looks like all of my wildest dreams.
Using people's extraordinary self-shot footage.
We're gonna die, dude! We gotta get out of here! Mason, get away from the windows now!
And their death-defying stories.
I remember instantly thinking, I just watched her die.
I had to turn on my inner stunt driver and just get out of there quick.
I thought I was gonna burn alive.
We go eyeball to eyeball with Mother Nature.
It's crazy! It's crazy!
And witness up close
Get on there!
the all-consuming power of the elements.
The mountain was coming to get us.
Flash right there! This place is just hell.
It was just horrific.
I had never in my life experienced anything like that.
Everybody take cover!
Coming up in this episode, South Africa is hit by a double whammy of storms and raging fire.
It just combusted, it just exploded. The whole nation just caught fire.
A violent earthquake rocks New Zealand and spreads terror.
Such a big earthquake, I was not expecting to get out of that alive.
Oh my God.
And a journalist turns into the story during a catastrophic mudslide.
That's when flash floodwaters hit me, and boom, right in my face.
Cape Town, South Africa, June 7th, 2017. Warnings of an exceptional storm heading for the coast have been reported over the last couple of days. It promised to be a lead story for journalist Aaron Hyman.
Our job doesn't really bring us into contact with extreme weather at all in South Africa. We were expecting it to be the mother of all storms. They were talking about 12-meter swells in the sea. They were talking about 120-kilometer winds. We could just see something big coming. You could feel it.
Cape storm that we've all been waiting for has made landfall.
As the wind started building up its intensity and we started getting reports of trees collapsing, my neighborhood's power went out.
We've had reports, many structures destroyed, roofs ripped off, no localized flooding as yet.
We were getting all sorts of reports about destruction along the coast, and we thought, well, let's go to the breakwater near the waterfront. And you could basically just see the swell growing and growing.
Oh, this is going to be a biggie.
By the time we got there, it was just pounding the coast. The sea foamed, and these huge waves, these foam waves were crashing over and like pushing cars to the side of the road. We saw at least 2 accidents where people just like kind of meandered or drove into each other because they were mesmerized by the storm.
As you can see, the coast is being battered by waves. So far, we have about 8 fatalities confirmed in the Western Cape. Communities all along the coast are left homeless.
It was a once-in-a-century storm kind of thing. Cape Town is quite a large, flat place except for the mountains. There was a lot of flooding reported in the township. I had to move them because they were underwater. And if I recall, it was hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Around 800 homes were washed out from the floods. But for a city that's regularly buffeted by strong winds, none compared to those seen during the 40th annual Cape Town Cycle Tour. Londoner Tashia Pillay flew straight into this tempest.
I'm in love with cycling, so I've done loads of cycle races, competitive cycling, triathlons. I was incredibly fit and incredibly strong, and my plan was to absolutely smash it at the Cape Town Cycle Tour. So I was so excited. My sister and her husband had flown down from Johannesburg, so they'd come to watch me race. I was just on top of the world, really, and really wanted to get a good time. Day before, we got an email from the organizers saying that there were strong winds expected. We still thought we'd do the race. So the plan was to meet friends at 6:15. One of my friends and I drove to the race, and as we were driving, you could feel the car swaying in the wind. It's only when we got to the start did we realize the severity of the wind. Tried to take our bikes out the boot, and the bike just flew in the air.
Wow, this is the start of the Cape Town cycle. The most horrendous wind.
That's when we saw people with their bikes just being almost like blown off the road. I had never in my life experienced anything like that. It almost felt like you were in some sort of hurricane. The wind was so strong and everyone was standing by the sides of the buildings. Just tried to walk across the road and you were literally just almost blown off the road. And then I realized there is no way in hell I was getting on a bike and doing any cycling. You would have been killed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cape Town Cycle Tour has been stopped.
It's like just horrendous. We can barely walk. So no chance we're going to be cycling today. I've come all the way from London to do it, so I'm kind of disappointed, but rather be safe.
Later, the Cape Storm takes an unexpected twist with devastating consequences.
With the massive strong winds and these perfect dry conditions, the storm, instead of bringing water to Cape Town, it brought fire. It just combusted, it just exploded.
It became one of the worst natural disasters in South Africa's history.
All you see was orange, the fire and the heat. If you get stuck there, you're gonna get caught in fire.
When it comes to deadly weather phenomena, the poor old storm gets downplayed. According to meteorological guidelines, a storm is only generated when sustained winds reach between 55 and 63 miles per hour, which is force 10 on the Beaufort scale. As is the case in Serbia, as these guys nervously watch an evil-looking front move in. As winds start to shake trees violently, they take to heel and run for shelter. Which is a wise decision. As winds tear down branches and threaten to blow the house down, it proves no storm in a teacup. Staying in the Balkans. In Romania, when a storm brews, it doesn't do things by half measures. In 1 hour, it went from warm and sunny to this. Thunderstorm clouds can bubble up to an astonishing 20,000 feet. And this one's loaded with hail, which makes driving particularly nerve-wracking. Sensibly, everyone pulls over, as this is one time it definitely pays not to ride out a storm. In Vietnam, storms can literally take people's breath away, and their motorcycles. When winds reach 64 to 73 miles per hour, it's termed a violent storm. Beyond that, it's a hurricane. And this one's definitely heading towards that territory. One storm rider ignores his fallen comrades and cries of alarm as he bravely takes on the tempest. But alas, he's forced to abandon his precious wheels to the bike graveyard and get the hell out of Dodge. Over in Las Vegas, USA, the summer weather is generally extremely hot and stable. But when a storm breaks, it's a proper Vegas showstopper. With winds raging at 70 miles per hour, the trash cans are blowing around like confetti. Driving in these conditions can only be described as one hell of a gamble. Finally, the British are used to a good blow. When Eileen, the fifth storm of the 2017-18 season, battered her shores. Gusts of up to 100 miles per hour wreaked havoc and left tens of thousands of homes without power. But for Irish footballer Ian O'Connor, it proves the perfect opportunity to showcase his boomerang goal kick. A perfect execution. New Zealand, the land of the long white cloud and ring of fire, derived from its position on a seismically volatile fault line. Each year, this tiny nation shudders from a staggering 15,000 earthquakes. At midnight, on the 14th of November 2016, student Michael Spratt was with mates in a Wellington city apartment when the earth began to move.
I was in the bathroom and the hand towel that was on the sink started swaying and I had no idea what it was. And in my head, I actually did think that I was hallucinating.
Oh my God, guys.
In the kitchen, we had a light that was suspended, so it was on a wire, so that's, of course, going to be the first thing that you see to move. As I was recording, I was running as fast as I possibly could to the door, but because it was midnight, the door was locked, and I couldn't unlock the door because of how much we were moving.
Michael was caught in a 7.8 magnitude earthquake, the biggest to strike Wellington in 161 years.
People describe them in New Zealand as a train coming through your front living room. I just can't believe how noisy it is.
Oh.
Just hearing every single window possible crack. It doesn't compare to any other sound I've heard. This was such a big earthquake, I did think that the building was just going to completely fall down. I was not expecting to get out of that alive.
The earthquake rumbled for almost 10 terrifying minutes, ransacking Michael's apartment.
Every single joint in the apartment had split. The lines going up and down the walls were just everywhere. The bedroom was a mess. There was 2 lamps on either side of the bed. When we went back in, they were at this wall. So they'd literally been thrown about 4 or 5 meters this way. In the kitchen, the fridge was moved out. The TV was flung about 2 meters from where it should be, and the French dresser that just completely went across the room.
The TV's okay, but the whole French dresser's just smashed to bits.
I wanted to talk to my dad, my mum, my sister, my grandma, and my phone actually died when I was outside, and I just broke down in tears. I thought it was centred in Wellington, but then when we realised that it was actually in a different island, it was about 100, 200 kilometres away from us, I was like, there's going to be nothing left down there.
The epicentre of the massive quake was located in New Zealand's South Island, near the coastal town Kaikoura.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
There, Jackson Lidgard was shaken awake by the sheer force of it.
When I woke up, everything was shaking, really. And then it got even bigger, so we ran outside, and then it got even bigger again. It did feel kind of like the world was ripping itself apart. All you could hear was just rocks rolling around in the hills.
It was such a mind-blowing experience. The next morning, Jackson decided to survey his transformed neighbourhood.
When I left and went onto the highway, I was intrigued to see what was out there, and it was an exciting but also scary adventure. There was rocks along the coastline there that were sitting on the road that were the size of probably like a small-sized truck. Huge piles of dirt covering the road. I think I counted 4 or 5 major slips. Meters and meters high, huge boulders just strewn across the road. It was just crazy in some spots, you couldn't even see where the road used to go. At one point there was a divot in the road that was probably half my body height from where a rock had bounced. There was points where I walked across the railway line that went down off where the road used to be, lay across the beach and then back up, but all the sleepers and rail was all still attached. So it was like a bridge for me to walk around the slip. And also I found one train tunnel that had snapped in half, which was probably the scariest moment of the trip, because I was in the middle of a train tunnel and all of a sudden there's a big pile of rubble and wires hanging down. So I climbed over that and ran out the rest of the tunnel.
Incredibly, the 2016 earthquake shunted parts of Kaikoura's coastline up by almost 20 feet, wrecking an offshore reef and decimating marine species. As for Jackson, witnessing the power of Mother Nature up close and personal has been life-changing.
Earthquakes now feel you're a lot more scary. You'll be sitting somewhere, even like in the library, and the floor will shake just by someone walking past, and it'll make you just kind of tense up and start evaluating whether it's going to turn into a big shake and whether you have to run.
As we all know, when wild, Mother Nature can be merciless, sparing nothing and no one, old and young.
Straight on down. Go for it. Come on.
In Idaho, US, after a heavy snowfall, this pair are enjoying some special father and son time.
Nice. Hit the jump. Hit it. Hit it. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
The kid successfully negotiates the jump, but a more sinister trap is ready to gobble him up.
Ethan! You okay? Ethan!
Even the lightest powder snow is incredibly dense, and survival rates plummet after 50 minutes being buried.
That's okay, it's okay. Here we go, here we go. Here we go. I got you. Where's your glove? Where's your glove? Where's your glove? Okay. You okay? Okay, okay. Okay. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Be safe, be safe.
It's an important lesson that even fluffy snow can't be taken for granted.
I've had a near-death experience. Yeah.
Next, extreme heat in Colorado has affected this girl's judgment. As a dangerous dive goes painfully wrong. This took place in Paradise Cove, but for her, it will feel like hell. Incredibly, she's expected to make a full recovery. If you think that's shocking, this 12-year-old boy in Argentina is putting himself in peril as thunder rumbles ominously around him. Apart from a massive fright, he was okay, but all the house's electrical appliances were fried. On a blustery day in Lyndhurst, Ohio, this young girl's eagerness to get home and out of the wind almost spells disaster. This is a swing door on steroids. But what's more impressive, despite the door catapulting open, she clings onto Mum's cell phone.
Oh my God.
These lads have just moved from Texas to New England and are reveling in a new treat, snow.
Oh my God.
Straight away, they make a rookie mistake of targeting the terrace drop-offs. Despite the crash landing and Mum's obvious concern, it doesn't put them off until...
Oh my God! Oh my God! You took out a plane, bro! Oh my God!
That'll teach him not to beat about the bush.
You took out the bush! You killed him!
Still to come, a powerful cyclone traps a volcanologist for 3 days next to a combustible volcano.
This place is just hell. Gas-filled hell.
And a journalist is taken on a frightening crash course by a raging torrent of mud.
And all that was going through my head was, Christ, I better hang on.
Earlier, we saw how in 2017, Cape Town was besieged by the mother of all storms.
We've had reports, many structures destroyed, roofs ripped off. Communities all along the coast are left homeless.
But there was one hopeful silver lining in the dark clouds. Cape Town was in the midst of its worst ever drought, with water expected to run out in May 2018. But rather than relieving this, the storm sparked something far worse. Reporter Aaron Hyman was on call for the escalating catastrophe.
This was actually the first storm for the rain season, and it came very late. People were hoping a lot of wind, big swells, surely we're going to get a lot of rain. It turned out to be very little rain with the massive strong winds and these perfect dry conditions. The storm, instead of bringing water to Cape Town, it brought fire.
Whipped up by 70 miles per hour winds, it quickly became South Africa's worst ever inferno. Consuming an area of 100 square miles around the town of Knysna, 300 miles east of Cape Town.
It just combusted, it just exploded. The whole Knysna just caught fire.
Caught up in this apocalyptic firestorm was Knysna resident Romeo Dutoit, one of thousands facing life or death emergencies.
I remember the morning when I left with my dad. We were driving down the road, like just leaving the house. And my dad was driving, so his phone rang. So it's my mom phoning. And she said, the fire is here. There's a fire, like literally it's on our property. Like, you guys need to get here now. And my mom was like crying and screaming and trying to find the cats. I've never had a phone call like that. When you hear someone like screaming like that, like a life's about to end. And we were pretty far from home, but we had to drive through town to get to where we live on the mountain. and I saw the smoke. And it's starting to get like dark because of the smoke. And I told my dad, listen, yeah, if you're not gonna drive fast now, I will kick you out of this truck and I will drive. Like, you better move. On the way towards our house, they started blocking off the roads.
By the turn of there, it's all blocked off again. It's completely under fire.
And I remember getting to the front of the roadblock. And then the cop was like, stop, stop, stop. He's like, you can't go. You can see what it looks like. My mom is right there. I'm going. All you see was orange, the fire and the heat. You could feel. I remember feeling the heat, like in the truck. Like it's literally like if you get stuck there, you're gonna get caught in fire. So when we stopped in front of our driveway, and we just hooted. Like 2 seconds later, I see my mom running out of the one door with like the one catting like a bag, like pushed her in. I don't know how we made it back down. You can't see anything, it's just fire. More people running out of their houses, screaming for help. I went and helped them, like getting sheep out of their properties. It was just crazy, 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 crazy. We sat at the safe spot for like 4 hours, like just watching everything. Eventually, like the fire started dying around the area where we live. So my dad said, come, let's quickly go check. Maybe we can see our house from the side, if it burned down or not. And I remember like running up, like, and all of a sudden I see once again the property, and there's the house. It's actually standing.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
I mean, a lot of places around us burned down. All around us, our neighbor's house, the people next to us, right next to our property, it was a little village. There was 12 houses on there, all 12 of them, boom, just gone.
In all, there were over 20 major fires across the Cape region that raged for 4 days. 10,000 people were displaced, over 1,000 homes destroyed. Inevitably, the people who could least afford it were the worst affected.
The places that were the most vulnerable were these informal communities which have been there for centuries. The fire just decimated their buildings. There was nothing they could do. In the midst of this kind of post-apocalyptic environment where a lot of people essentially came down from the hill where they've lost their houses and were now homeless, they were coming to seek aid. They were evacuated because the fire had basically surrounded them. So it was tragic for them. They lost a lot and they don't have a lot to lose. To them, it's a disaster of unimaginable proportion.
In the end, it took 1,000 firefighters, 78 fire engines, and 6 military helicopters to bring the Cape Inferno under control. The eventual cleanup bill costing over $300 million.
I think the Cape Storm will probably be remembered as the biggest relief effort in South African history. You still have smoldering trees, you still have a massive cleanup effort, you still have many people who are destitute. It was absolutely, absolutely devastating. It was massive.
In the South Pacific lies the remote island of Ambrim, home to a world-famous active volcano. In February 2017, volcanologist Chris Horsley was planning a month-long expedition there.
I run and manage expeditions that access volcanoes. I probably led more descents into a volcano than anyone else on the planet. So it's really crazy for a 26-year-old to be able to do that.
On this particular trip, Chris was guiding some amateur enthusiasts. But as it was off-season, there was an element of danger.
We had some private clients who wanted to come along to see the volcano. There's nothing on the planet like this. It's beautiful rainforest that leads up to this black, barren landscape. And as you look over the edge, there's a drop of 400 meters to the world's most active lava lake, and it's just churning away.
Oh yeah, wow.
There's a place that you want to go and see magma, the core of the Earth, like a porthole into the planet. We did know that this is a kind of bad season to be going to the top of a volcano in the South Pacific. I mean, it's cyclone season, so it had its risks from the start. But we're always optimists, and we hope for the best, and we went for it.
So we made it to Marham Summit. We just got the stuff carried up today by some porters.
We managed to get to the volcano, and it all went pretty smoothly. And we set up for a month-long expedition. But we started to hear a little rumble in the background, and we realized that there was a storm.
Keeping their safety in mind, the clients were evacuated to the bottom of the mountain, while Chris remained to look after all the gear.
I've got one tent, and I'm spending the night up here alone with some very high winds.
I was optimistic, and I thought, well, as long as I've got food and water and a shelter, we can get through this. It'll be okay. I mean, I've been up there in severe conditions before. We had little indication about what was actually moving in, and strangely, it was two weather systems that were moving past each side of the island, and it was supposed to remove all the cloud, and we were going to have a weather window. It actually worked in an opposite effect, and really gave us a rough ride. Little did I know it was a 4-day storm moving in with a north wind direction, so that means there's a full gas cloud of a volcano pushed over a camp. And that brings acid rain.
As the storm rolled in, it whipped up winds of almost 100 miles per hour. More deadly were clouds of sulfur that rots both lungs and equipment.
This place is just hell. Gas-filled hell.
Trapped in this hellhole, Chris's life depended on his canvas tent holding out against the storm.
So I've started to pack up my things into my emergency bag. Knife, head torch, whistle.
When the storm didn't move, and it progressively got worse and worse, and there was 2 meters visibility outside, lightning strikes grounding all around, which is pretty scary, especially if you're in a tent on your own on a summit. There's little things that really mean the world to you right there. I mean, shelter, food, and water. These things are your life. And for me, it was my tent.
I've got a protective cover on my tent, but it could rip through that.
Without the tent, most certainly, it would have been over for me.
I've got these 2 drums in here. These are full of our ropes and radio supplies, but they're actually anchoring the tent to the ground. If it wasn't for them, this tent would take off.
I mean, that was my lifeline. That was all I had at that time.
Okay, this is starting to get bad. It's flipped a 20-litre water container off the edge of my tent, and now it's starting to rip the cover apart. So I'm just gonna have to go outside and fix it.
You can really dwell on a bad situation. There's nothing to distract me from it. Just being stuck in the elements by yourself, you learn a lot about yourself and what you can deal with. My method is not to think about it whatsoever and pretend that it's not happening, and then it all seems to be fine.
But after 3 long days and nights being battered by the elements, Chris began to crack.
I'm on top of a volcano, on my own.
On your own in a tent, you do start to realize how weird you are.
I think that was an owl.
Thinking about the weirdest of things.
Either that or a flying fox.
And also overthinking certain situations, and your mind becomes your own worst enemy.
After over 70 hours of the worst physical and mental hammering of his life, the tropical cyclone finally dissipated.
So today has been our first clear day in a while. It was kind of this mad dart to get off that mountain as soon as I possibly could. So we've started our retreat down the volcano. The sense of relief to just get down, it was like, right, a cup of coffee, kind of a proper bed, a stretcher, and that was a really welcome feeling. There's very few places on this planet that you can see nature at its most aggressive. Having that much thrown at me and dealing with it essentially by myself in a tent, it taught me a lot. I think this was just another element that's made me appreciate this volcano even more.
Sometimes the weather is so weird and unfathomable, we're left scratching our heads in wonderment. So we're going to get all Sherlock Holmes on the weather and unravel some of nature's biggest mysteries. In Russia, this man is left totally bemused by this strange UFO-like glowing orb hovering on the horizon. In fact, this is an extremely rare phenomenon called ball lightning. Scientists believe this is from leftover energy ions that are swept into a dense ball after a lightning strike. Whatever, it's certainly electrifying. In the desert landscape in Turkmenistan, the temperatures can reach a scorching 50 degrees Celsius. Hotter still is this freakish crater with a fire seemingly burning out of thin air. This blazing hole, known as the door to hell, was created in 1971 when a natural gas field collapsed into an underground cavern. It was set alight to prevent the spread of eggy-smelling methane gas. No wonder he's groaning. While in Kentucky, USA, is this the latest crackpot invention from the Deep South? A lawn waterbed? Sadly, for all you lounge lizards, it's not. Instead, it's the result of intense 2-hour rainfall infiltrating the ground, causing a turf blister. And, a bit like a human blister when you pop it, putrid liquid pours out. This truly surreal sight on the frozen Liao River in northeast China was captured by a drone. It's triggered when the edges begin to melt. Instead of water dropping straight down, it twists, creating a vertical vortex, a bit like the spiral down a plug hole. As the disc rotates, the ice grinds into a perfect circle. But be warned, even fun ice merry-go-rounds can be deadly.
It's like a circle of rainbow in the sky. I hope it does a full circle.
Finally, no video trickery has been used to display this inverted rainbow spotted in Buffalo, New York. It literally appears to be flouting the laws of science and nature. But to understand this, one must look beyond rainbows. In fact, this is a meteorological phenomenon called circumzenithal, a fancy word for sunlight refracting through ice crystal. And with that, our weather cases are cracked. Well done, Sherlock. Holmes, my dear fellow, it's elemental. Colorado Springs, a city nestled at the foot of the Rockies mountain range. It's midsummer 2013, and in the nearby foothills, local journalist John Stroyer was checking out a possible news lead.
Normal day at work, and all of a sudden we got word that there was a flash flood warning. And so I started driving up there to go take a look and see if I could get any footage. I was on Highway 24 just barely west of Manitou Springs, and there was basically a traffic jam. A lot of cars were just stopped in the middle of the road, and I thought there might have been rockfall or something blocking the highway. So I pulled off to the side of the road to get my camera, and had no warning. That's when the flash floodwaters hit me, and boom, right in my face.
John was the unwitting victim of a deadly trap. A year earlier, the massive Waldo Canyon wildfire had burnt vast swathes of mountainside. These scarred, baked earth slopes allowed rainfall to run off unchecked, accumulating into the devastating flash flood now threatening his life.
When the water hit, it literally picked my car up, turned it 180 degrees around.
Oh my God.
And it just started sweeping me back down the hill.
Oh my God.
It was very, very muddy, full of branches and debris. I was in some kind of shock, and all that was going through my head was, Christ, I better hang on.
Oh my God.
Out of sheer stupid instinct, one of the things I started doing was trying to actually steer, which is obviously just ludicrous because it's not like a car is going to be able to steer while it's floating in water. There's a cliffside, bounced off that a couple of times. That was probably the biggest physical danger that I was in.
Oh my God. Wow.
Felt like forever. Felt like it was going on forever.
My car is totaled. My car just got totaled.
The car finally came to rest just literally on the side of the road on a bed of dirt and sediment. It was a really intense experience.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
I think I sat in my car for maybe half an hour, roughly. Eventually just rolled down the window and climbed out onto the roof. At that point, then it was just a complete mess because of all the debris and rocks and logs and branches and wrecked cars that were blocking the highways.
Ironically for newshound John, who was chasing a story, he was about to become the story.
I tweeted out a photo of my car, like sitting on the side of the road, wrecked. I didn't expect to start getting interview requests, but as soon as I said that tweet out, they started pouring in almost immediately.
It turned into John's 15 minutes of fame, with star turns on CNN, Fox News, and the Weather Channel.
This idiotic incident of me getting caught in a flash flood has gotten me far more attention than any of the really, in my opinion, excellent work I've done as a journalist. It cracks me up that this video of me wrecking my car is going to be one of the things that I'm most well known for.
We all know that sometimes when we take on Mother Nature at her own game, we can make a bit of a fool of ourselves. So, in recognition of this, World's Deadliest Weather is staging its very own Olympics bloopers. First up is this crew from France competing in sailing. As they approach this bridge, they've got their ropes and themselves in a right tangle. That's one way to shiver your timbers. These able seamen are a worthy entry into our Bloopers Hall of Fame. Next, we head off to the diving arena for this well-built chap, sporting a mankini.
This is how you really do a summer dive.
Oh my God.
With a sight like that, I'm not surprised the baby's bawling its eyes out. Just missing out on a medal place is this reckless guy. In Hawaii, he's taking on giant 15-foot rollers capable of pounding him to a pulp. Winded and dazed, his foolishness is only compounded by the obvious warning. Our bronze medalist comes in high diving. An inch out, and he would be carted off on the blood wagon. But fair play, he pulls off this high-degree difficulty dive. But it does cost him the power of speech.
Leave it! Leave it! Leave it, mina damer och herrar.
Romping home in silver place is this man competing in ski jumping.
Are you okay?
Rumor has it, this is Eddie the Eagle, planning a comeback. Our undisputed gold medalist comes in the new Olympic sport of golf. Even if you've never picked up a golf club, you can see this is plain crazy. And sure enough, he's rewarded by a chilling hole-in-one. Our worthy champion. In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature snarl with fury. We've seen how helpless we can be. We've seen her tear down, destroy, and laugh in our faces. And next time, there will be more. Because deadly weather stops for no one.